Hello, I'm Achilles, the pain in your heel, and welcome back to my first long-form video in a while. Today I'd like to yap about the game prototype I made for my last unit in my Bachelor of Game Design. So my last unit was indie game development, and it was actually a first year unit that I didn't do my first year because there was this mystical study plan I didn't know about until my second year. So as a third year, there were aspects of the unit that were easier than others, somewhat. I am an artist first and foremost. In the game jams I've done with my friends and group projects I've worked on throughout my course, I did concept art, 2D sprites, UI sometimes, and marketing materials like posters, itch banners, covers, etc. What I've avoided like the plague is programming and 3D modeling. One, because I consider myself bad at math and technical things, and two, because they don't spark the joy art and narrative do within my creative soul. So for this project, being a unit focused on solo indie dev work, I had to step way out of my comfort zone. Thankfully, I had a diploma under my belt and two very talented programmer friends who were willing to help me as I flailed around trying to tackle an input manager, an interface, and messing around with scriptable objects properly for the first time. And while there were lows where I thought there was no way I was going to get this game done, I had a ton of highs as well, where I managed to figure out things on my own. And by the end of it, I actually felt competent enough to help other classmates with their own programming woes, so that was super cool. But enough about that. This isn't a devlog or talking through the technical aspects of the project kind of video, if you couldn't tell by the time-lapse of beautiful women happening. Talking about these beautiful women brings me to the narrative of my game, which I have not said the name of at all yet. My game is a 3D hidden object game called Olive's Letter, and you play as Ainsley Roswell, daughter of Olive, granddaughter of Florence, great-granddaughter of Hattie. I've been getting a real hankering for focusing on women-led narratives, especially in my games, maybe as a subconscious pushback to the misogyny ever rampant in the video game space / internet in general, or maybe just for the fact I love women. Or both. Who knows? So the Roswell family have a small family-run museum, and in its current state, it's very Roswell family focused. It kind of feels like a mini monument to their family history instead of being a general museum for the town. This was half intentional and half due to limitations. I used a lot of 3D models made by K-Kit and Tasty Treats on itch.io, and made a few myself, but I did not have enough time or brain power to create very unrelated props to fill the space. So ultimately it ended up feeling very Roswell orientated, and honestly I don't hate that. It's kinda whimsical and I like it. But anyway, the plot of the game is basically Ainsley is finally taking over from Florence as the curator and caretaker of the museum. In the Roswell family, this title is passed down through generations, but Florence stayed on a little longer unfortunately because Olive and Olive's husband Basil passed away when Ainsley was younger. What makes it worse is that they died right after Olive had a fight with Florence over not wanting to take over and wanting to pursue a career as an artist. Florence is obviously haunted by the fact her last conversation with her daughter was full of anger, and she doesn't want to have the same fight with Ainsley and actually pushes for her to pursue a career in writing instead of taking over the museum. Ainsley, however, always insisted that she could do both, but it took Hattie whisking Florence away on vacation and reassuring her to convince her to finally hand over the key to Ainsley. So starts the small scavenger hunt where Ainsley has to put the museum back in working order and find the key to the office. I initially planned for puzzles. Botany Manor was my main inspiration for style and gameplay, but due to scope I had to toss the puzzles and just stick to hidden object. I still want to work on the game a bit more, add some extra pizzazz, polish it, all that jazz, but I am a chronic start new projects and ignore the old ones type creative. I have plans and lists of things I want to do, but we'll see what happens. In the end, I am super proud of what I managed to do in 9 weeks. I really love this little family I've created, and I'm happy I got to share them with people. A lot of my stories stay in my drafts or group chats with friends, and it's an entirely other beast to share them with strangers. Anytime someone lets me know my characters spoke to them in any way, it really lights a fire in me, and as my confidence grows, I hope to share more and more of my stories. Do you have any projects you've been working on that you've surprised yourself with? Or any characters you've made that you're super keen to share with people? I'd love to hear about them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!